Hi everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Sarah Samuel, one of the board of directors of the Women in Aviation Singapore chapter. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sarah.
Thank you, Jess. Great privilege and pleasure to be here.
Women in Aviation Singapore chapter is aviation's official diversity partner this year. First off, do you see any differences based in region in how young people are perceiving careers in aviation? And in your opinion, how can these be overcome?
So we do see differences in regions, for sure, in different territories, but I think they're pretty much common uh, um, challenges, to attract the younger generation into aviation and to get them excited. And it's probably because I don't think there's a lot of awareness that aviation is pretty glamorous. At least I think it is glamorous. Because you get to travel in a lot of the different roles that you have. So what we're doing here in Singapore is really creating that awareness. In Southeast Asia, probably the traditional jobs that most parents and guardians encourage the children are in, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being an accountant, teacher, engineer, those sorts of fields. There's not a lot of awareness that aviation is, pretty well paying jobs. They're exciting, there's exciting career paths, and it's a wide variety, and there's a lot of diversity in the roles because you've got pilots, you've got engineers, you've got flight attendants, but you've also got lawyers who do leasing agreements. You've got, aircraft designers, fashion designers who design the crew outfits. You've got accountants who just very specialized in leasing, etc. Or you've got, airport IT or travel IT. There's so many different roles. Air traffic controller. So many different roles, and I think it's just a matter of getting people to be aware of the different jobs. I just gonna just do a little personal note. So I have a 19-year-old son who is looking for work experience, and now I have him as a ground handler doing check-in at an airport in Sydney. So
Fantastic.
I
How is
just
he
like
finding
immerse
that?
him, and he's loving it. He's loving the fact that he has to interact with so many different people from so many different countries. So it's great exposure for him, and he's loving it.
That's great to hear, and congratulations to your son as well. I think you're touching on a really important point, which is that there needs to be sort of a more of an advertisement of the wealth of different roles within the industry, because I think too often, and it has previously been quite gendered in the perception that it's the sort of male pilot is the stereotype of the role in the aviation industry. And of course, that really is not the case at all.
Correct.
And but there's a lot of sort of compensation that needs to be done to fix that stereotype. So one of the things you touched on was the sort of glamour and the tech side of it. So how can we leverage the industry's technological and environmental advancements to inspire future talent?
So I think like, in the 21st century and, we are already quarter way through the 21st century. So very quickly we're approaching the 22nd century. And it's such an exciting period to be living in because, technology is evolving so quickly. In Singapore, we've got this organization called Nest. I think it's a Finnish company, but they're here in Singapore and they've got like the largest production in the world for sustainable aviation fuel, which is fantastic. Two things: technology, because it's using the latest technology and using sustainable fuels, not fossil fuels, looking at alternate methods of fueling aircrafts, etc. And it's sustainable, so it's two things that the current generation, especially Gen Zs, and I'm assuming Gen Alphas and whatever the next generation after Gen Alpha is going to be looking for. It's their purpose, their sense of mission is to make sure that they live in a sustainable world and they leave a sustainable footprint behind. And then there's great technologies, all the aircrafts that are being manufactured today, they're able to go longer distance using less fuel, lower carbon emission, lower noise emissions, so that's a lot of exciting technology there. And then, of course, we've got AI, machine learning, etc., that's being applied across all touch points that you can think of. Even if it's fashion, when you're designing, your tools are using AI, etc. So it's a great time to be in, where there is so much of technology innovation, and that's a great way to attract Gen Zs or Gen Zs, I should say, and Gen Alphas, is to tell them about the great technologies they're going to be working with, because these are technology native youngsters or younger people. So, and we're doing everything that is being developed today has a future thought, has sustainability as its underlying purpose.
Absolutely, and I think that really is going to be key to attracting younger generations to the industry, where, like you say, they are placing a much heavier weighting on sustainability and that side of choosing careers.
Yeah.
So we've spoken on attracting young people to the industry. Let's now discuss the readiness of workplace for women in aviation. What's your assessment here?
So I'd say, so I've been in aviation probably coming up to 30 years, so it's a really long time. And I would say, like, maybe like 8 years ago, I was at an airport, and I went to one of the offices that the airport had, and that had airlines and other suppliers and stakeholders also housed in that airport, in that building. And the toilets for women were only in alternate floors, you know? So that was like maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago. But if I go today, now it's on every floor, because the number of women have really increased in the workforce, etc. So that's just one example. Let's be thoughtful and inclusive on facilities, tools, etc., that that they are also addressable and usable for women. I think that's really very low hanging fruit that people can take advantage of. And then little things like, the workplace needs to be safe and secure, and that women feel safe, that there's no harassment, etc. Paths are well lit so they can walk safely when they do night shifts, etc. A little bit of flexibility in work, and that should be not just for women. It should be gender neutral, to allow for flexibility in working hours or work conditions, etc. Really good parental leave, and again, I'm using the word parental and not maternity, but so that it is inclusive for all genders. So I think little measures like that really would make the workplace much safer, more inclusive, and attract more women, because we do need to have a balanced industry.
Of course, and I think you're completely right that there has been change already, but I also agree that it may not be going far enough yet, and there's a lot of evolution still to have, that will make women feel more comfortable, and then it will sort of have this self-fulfilling dynamic to it, where if women
Yeah.
feel comfortable in the industry, more women will flock to it, and then they'll vice versa. So I think those are both really, really important points.
And I
So
think,
yeah,
just if I could add one more point, because the parents and guardians of this next generation also need to be aware that it's safe for their young women coming into the workplace, or young women, who are preparing, like, what should I be studying? What subject should I be doing, for my higher education, etc. For them to know that it's actually a safe environment. So, it's for the younger next generation to know, but also the guardians and parents and whoever are looking after them.
Absolutely, that's a really important point as well. So if we turn our attention to the upcoming Aviation Festival Asia in Singapore, why did you decide to join us as our official diversity partner for this year?
Because I think both our organization have very similar mission, purpose. We're both about aviation. We both are about, talking about the wonderful things about aviation. But more importantly, you guys believe in the diversity. You believe it's a really important aspect of the industry, and you promote that. And so that really resonated with us. And we've been working with you now. I want to say this is the third year, or it could be the second year, but we've been working together, and I hope we continue our partnership. Just because we both have the same purpose in mind.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining today and sharing your insights, and I look forward to seeing you on site in Singapore.
Yeah, me too. Looking forward to it.